Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. We made it to OJ on Friday. Hopefully, hopefully it moves along a little bit today. I know this trial is long and we have to get through all this stuff before we can get to the glove and we can get to Cato. And I hear Mike Furman's testimony is pretty bad, but we'll see. We'll see for ourselves. I just want you to know, I I want to hear the testimony. Everybody says he did it, he's guilty. Then other people say he didn't do it. It was his son, blah, blah, blah. I want to hear the testimony because I just don't know. It doesn't sound good so far. Everything they put forward so far does not sound good for OJ. But anyway, let's get to it. Your audio is fine. They're muted. Is he eating in court? Sir, show some respect.
Generally, an objection, as well as my 403 objection.
All right, we've dealt with those.
Very well.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right, let's have the jurors, please. Yes.
I have one of those in my living room too.
All right, let the record reflect that we have been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel, that Mr. Shipp is again on the witness stand. Mr. Shipp, you're reminded you're still under oath. Mr. Darden, you may resume your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Mr. Shipp, a little while ago, you told us that you spoke to a detective in an attempt to see if you could take care of this situation for Mr. Simpson.
Yes, I did.
During 1989, did the LAPD have a policy as it related to the arrest of spousal abuse suspects?
Yes, they did. It was 273.5 PC, Penal Code.
Now, is this something that you taught during your domestic violence classes at the police academy?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And what was that policy?
The policy was what the law did was most victims, when they're in a bad relationship, have a tendency.
Mr. Shipp,
I can explain
the
this.
question is, what was the policy, not
We had
why?
all right, the policy. I'm sorry. The policy was to make an arrest if there's any kind of injury.
So anytime there's some indication that a victim has suffered some injury in a spousal abuse situation, the policy required the LAPD officer to arrest the suspect.
Yes, it did.
Anytime there was an injury.
Anytime there was any kind of a willful injury by the actual suspect or batterer.
Now, you told us that you heard on Monday, June 13, that Nicole Brown was dead. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
And where were you when you heard the news?
I was in a bank, the First Interstate Bank.
And what did you do at that point?
I called the house,
Whose house?
O.J. Simpson's house.
And did the defendant, did he answer the phone?
No, I did not.
Did you go to the defendant's home?
Not at that time. Not at that time, no, I did.
At some point that day, that Monday, did you go to the defendant's home?
Yeah, I went there. I think I went there like maybe an hour or two afterwards, a couple hours, if I'm not mistaken.
And was the defendant at his home when you arrived?
No, he wasn't.
Do you recall what time it was when you arrived at the defendant's home?
The first time, it might have been roughly around maybe 2 o'clock, somewhere around there. I'm not really sure. I went there twice that day.
So you arrived at 2 o'clock Monday, the first time, right?
Right.
The defendant wasn't there.
No, he wasn't.
Did you go to his house a second time that same Monday?
Yes, I did.
What time was that?
I think it's approximately 5:45 to 6 o'clock.
Okay. Do you know where the defendant was at 2 o'clock on that Monday?
I had no idea.
Well, when you went to the house the second time that evening, was he there?
Yes, he was.
Did you just walk into the house as you had on prior occasions?
No, once again, I pushed the buzzer.
You were buzzed in?
I was buzzed in.
Who buzzed you in?
I can't remember. There was, like maybe 10, 15 people there at the time.
Okay, so you walked into the house and there were 10 or 15 people there?
Yeah, around the, different parts of the house.
Okay. Who was there?
What I remember at the time, I remember there was, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kathy Randall was there,
Okay, and who was Kathy Randall?
OJ's assistant.
Who else?
I remember there was Jason, if I'm not mistaken. There was Arnell.
Is that Jason and Arnell Simpson?
Yeah.
The defendant's two adult children?
Yeah, I mean, I was there over a week's period, so I mean, this is what I'm thinking on that night. There was also...
Order, whoa.
No, Donald, this is a sidebar.
Let's resume, please.
Can we approach again?
For what purpose, Mr. Darden? I don't think it's necessary at this point. We're in the middle of a question.
There's still a witness present.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right, Mr. Darden, you may resume.
When we left off, Mr. Shipp, you told us that Kathy Randa and Jason and Arnell Simpson were present in the house that evening. Is that correct?
What I remember, yeah, I think they...
Okay, and who else was present?
OJ's sisters were both there, and brother-in-laws, his mom, and I think there was grandkids there. I think a couple of OJ's friends, I think Joe Stellini was there, Neil Sloan. I'm not sure if Bob Kardashian was there. I'm not sure if he was there. I think he was. I'm not real sure.
Robert Kardashian, seated
Yes,
here?
Robert Kardashian. And I think there's one guy there. I'm not sure if it's one of OJ's golfing buddies or whatever that I remember.
Do you recall that person's name?
I can't remember his name.
What are the names of Mr. Simpson's two sisters?
Carmelita, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank again. I can't think of his other sister's name right now.
And the two brother-in-laws, what are their names, if you
I
know?
can't remember.
And you said that someone's grandchildren were there?
Oh, excuse me, there might have been OJ's nieces, I'm sorry. Nieces were there.
Okay. Do you recall their names?
No, I can't remember.
Recall their ages? Approximate?
Early 20s, maybe? Early 20s?
Okay. How many of them were there? How many nieces?
2.
Now, did you testify a while ago that you arrived the second time at 6 o'clock?
Yes, I did. Between 5:45 and 6.
And what time did you leave?
Maybe about 11.
Now, when you arrived at the house around 6 o'clock p.m., did you go to a particular room or part of the house?
Yeah, I guess you would call it his TV room.
Were there other persons or people in the TV room?
Yeah, that was myself. Like I said, Joe Stellini, Neil Sloan, and I think Robert Kardashian. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
And was the television on at that time?
Yeah, I think there was either 3 or 4 of them on.
Okay. And did you notice anything unusual about the defendant's hand at that time?
Yes, I noticed that he had one of his on his left hand. I think one of his fingers was bandaged, white bandage on it.
Okay. And did you pose any question to him at that time?
Yes, I asked him how he cut his hand, how he cut his finger.
And what did he say?
So he did it in Chicago.
Have a moment, Your Honor. Chicago?
Yes, he did.
Now, at some point, did the defendant prepare to go upstairs to go to bed?
Yeah, after a few hours,
And what did you prepare to do at that time?
go home.
If you know, where's the defendant's bedroom located? Where in the house?
Upstairs, located on the far east section of the house.
Have you ever been in the defendant's bedroom?
I think maybe once or twice prior to that night.
Now, as you prepared to leave the defendant's home, did you walk toward the front door?
Yes, I did.
And where was the defendant at that time?
Walking towards the stairs,
Stairs leading upstairs to his bedroom?
up to his bedroom.
And did he say anything to you at that time?
Yeah, he said, Ron, come upstairs for a minute.
And did you go upstairs?
Yes, I did.
Did you go upstairs with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Did you and the defendant go to a particular room?
To his bedroom, yes.
And what was the first thing that you did when you entered the defendant's bedroom?
The first thing I did at his request was to open the cabinets where his TV was.
And what was the defendant doing while you were doing that?
Starting to get undressed.
And what was he wearing initially?
I think he was wearing a white shirt and I can't remember what color the pants were.
Was he wearing pants?
Yeah, he had pants on.
And did you watch the defendant as he undressed and prepared to get ready for bed?
I mean, I didn't just stare at him, but I just. I was looking at TV and we were talking, you know.
All right. Okay. Did he take his clothes off, his pants and his shirt off?
Yes, he did.
Okay. What did he do with them after he took them off?
He folded them, and I can't remember if he hung them up or if he just laid them down. But I remember he was very meticulous as to how he was taking off his clothes and being very neat.
And he's always been that way, hasn't he? I mean, neat with his clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he has.
Okay. So what happened next? What happened after the defendant neatly folded his clothes?
He began to ask me a couple questions.
What was the
No,
first?
excuse me. I take that back. The first thing he said, he told me what the police had done when they came out to his house.
And what did he tell you the police had done when they came out to his house?
He said that they had gone through everything, and then they told him that they had found a bloody glove. They told him something about a watch cap, something like that, that they had, what was it? So that's all I can remember at this time.
And did he ask you any questions?
Yes, with recording.
With the recording.
All right, Mr. Darden.
When we left off, Mr. Shipp, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know whether or not.
Do you wish to voir dire the witness at this point? All right.
We're not at that point yet, Your Honor. I have additional questions.
All right, the objection's overruled. Briefly, Mr. Douglas.
Not at that point yet, Your Honor.
That's for me to determine, Mr. Darden. Mr. Douglas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Shipp, you said that you arrived at the Rockingham location the second time, sometime around 5:45 or 6, correct?
Roughly around there.
And did you say that it was sometime around 11 o'clock or so that you met with Mr. Simpson in his bedroom?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was somewhere around that time.
Do you recall, sir, that in fact you left Mr. Simpson's home sometime around midnight that day?
Objection, that assumes facts not in evidence.
We're not, yeah, correct. That question.
Question stricken, Your Honor?
No, question's not stricken. Mr. Douglas?
Do you recall, sir, that you left the Rockingham home escorting Kathy Randa to her car?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You know, one of the things, okay, as far as
The question is, sir, do you recall escorting Kathy Randa to her car?
Can
I was
the
there for a
witness be
full
allowed-
week.
Hold on, wait a minute. Counsel. Mr. Darden, please.
The witness, he's interrupting the witness in the middle of his answer.
Well, if you wouldn't interrupt me, maybe I could hear what's going on.
Well, I can't hear what's going on either, Judge.
Mr. Douglas,
Thank you, Your Honor.
this is beyond the bounds of regular voir dire, though,
Very well.
as far as foundation is concerned. I
Very
don't
well.
hear foundational questions here.
When you went up to Mr. Simpson's room, isn't it true that Shirley Baker, his sister, was there?
In the room?
Correct.
No, it's not true.
That's not an appropriate line of questioning under 403.
I'm going to give you a couple more questions, Mr. Douglas, but we're in cross-examination. We're not in voir dire at this point.
Yes, Your Honor. When you had the conversation with Mr. Simpson, you and he were alone?
Yes, we were.
When you had the conversation with Mr. Simpson, wasn't he already in bed?
No, he was not.
When you had the conversation with Mr. Simpson, wasn't his sister there in the room?
No, she was not.
It's your testimony that you and Mr. Simpson were present alone together, correct?
By ourselves.
One moment, Your Honor.
As the jury, I'm very confused right now. I don't understand what they're trying to hide from me.
I'll reserve my questions for later, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Mr. Darden.
When we left off, Mr. Shipp, I believe you told us that the defendant told you that the police told him that they found a bloody glove. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And they also said that they found a watch cap or something somewhere?
They said they found a watch cap on the property.
Did you and the defendant discuss things unrelated to Nicole Brown's death?
Related to her death?
Unrelated.
Not at this time.
Did you know that the defendant had gone down to the LAPD headquarters that day?
Yes, I did.
And did you and the defendant discuss what occurred there?
Not at all.
Well, did he ask you any questions? Any questions about the investigation that night?
After he
I love when CJ shows up. I do.
told me about what they found at his house, he asked me how long does it take DNA to come back.
And at that time, did you know the correct answer to that question?
I did not know the correct answer, but what I did say, I just off the cuff said 2 months.
And what did he say in response to your indication that it takes DNA 2 months to come back?
He kind of jokingly just said, you know, to be honest, Ship, that's what he called me, Ship. He said, I've had some dreams of killing her.
Did he say how many dreams he'd had of killing her?
No, he did not.
Did he say it was more than one?
He just said dreams, plural.
You were interviewed by the LAPD back in June or July of 1994, is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you reveal to the LAPD at that time that the defendant had told you that he had had dreams about killing Nicole
No, I did
Brown?
not. No, I did not.
Did the detectives ask you about your conversation with the defendant, if any, on June 13th?
They asked me if I had one, but at the time, I did not. No, I did not tell them.
You didn't tell them?
No, I did not.
Well, you're an ex-police officer, right?
Yes, I am.
You understood that they were conducting a homicide investigation, correct?
Yes, I did.
Well, what was your reaction when you heard the defendant say that he had had dreams about killing Nicole Brown? Irrelevant, Your Honor.
Sustained.
It's going to explain his subsequent conduct, Your Honor.
Ask him what he did after he heard it.
Okay. Well, after the defendant told you that he had had dreams of killing Nicole Brown, did you tell anyone else immediately?
That night, I went back and told my wife.
Were there other persons present in the house at that time? That is the time in which you heard the defendant say that he had dreams?
Other people present?
Yeah.
Yes, there were.
There were other people in the house downstairs?
Downstairs, right, correct.
Did you go downstairs and tell those people?
No. No, I did not.
And you didn't tell the police detectives when they questioned you?
No, I did not.
Why didn't you tell the police detectives about the defendant's statement that he had had dreams of killing Nicole Brown?
At the time when Detective Van Adder approached me on the situation, you got to understand, I was in a state of shock for up until that time. And I wanted nothing to do with any of this at the time. I was just still thinking it was a dream like most of America.
Well, did you think that you could somehow hurt the defendant or harm him or by disclosing that information?
Pardon me?
Did you think
Yes, I did. I felt it was harmful.
Well, why didn't you just tell the detectives?
I didn't want to tell the detectives at the time. I didn't even want to talk to them. I wanted nothing to do with it. I just wanted everything to go away. I wanted nothing to do with this. I've been a civilian, I think at the time, for almost 5 years. I'm living a normal life.
Did the fact of your friendship with the defendant enter into your decision not to tell the detectives?
Yes, it did.
How?
Like I said earlier, I mean, I've loved this man for 26 years. And all of a sudden, you know, my thought process, like I said, I wanted nothing to do with it at all.
Are you acquainted with someone named Sheila Weller?
Yes, I am.
And who is Sheila Weller?
Sheila Weller is an author of the book Raging Heart.
She's the author of a book called Raging Heart.
Right.
Have you read that book?
Most of it, not all of it.
And were you interviewed by Sheila Weller?
Yes, I was.
And were you interviewed by her for that book?
Yes, I was.
And when were you first interviewed by Sheila Weller?
I think it was in July.
July of 1994?
Correct.
How many times were you interviewed by her?
Maybe 6, 7 times. Maybe a little more, I can't remember.
Did you tell her about the defendant's statement? The statement that he had had dreams of killing Nicole Brown?
Not the first time when I talked to her.
Did she ask you about your conversations with the defendant on June 13?
She didn't know about it then.
Okay. Now you say that you have read this book, Raging Hearts, or rather most of it.
Yes, I have.
And there is a scenario in the book that describes someone who in the book is called or named Leo. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Have you read that passage?
Yes, I have.
And are you the Leo?
Yes, I am.
Are you Leo, the Leo who's described in that book?
Yep, that's me.
Is the bedroom conversation you just described to us today described in the book?
Yes, it is.
So you told Weller about the bedroom conversation.
Yeah, later on I did.
When, if you recall?
Maybe, I think it might have been maybe a month afterwards.
A month after the
After
killing?
the first time that I talked to her.
So what month would that be?
I guess August.
Okay. Well, had you told the LAPD about the defendant's statement regarding his dreams?
No.
So you told Weller before you told the LAPD?
Yes, I did.
You told Weller before you told Marshall Clark or myself?
I sure did.
Why'd you tell Weller about
Because
the dreams before you told us?
ever since I heard that conversation, it was just eating me up. And I knew I didn't want to tell you guys, because I didn't ever want to be in this position when I'm talking about this. And I had to get it out. And that's why I told her originally this whole thing was I was going to be anonymous.
You told Sheila Weller about the conversation and asked that you remain anonymous?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so your name isn't Leo. Your real name isn't Leo.
No, it is not.
And people refer to you as Ron. Is that
Yes,
right?
they do.
Did Weller agree to keep you anonymous in the
Yes,
book?
she did.
Did she offer you money in exchange for your telling her this information?
Not at all. Only reason I agreed to do the book, I got a call from Rolf Bauer, Nicole's brother. I mean, actually, he's her cousin. And originally, I didn't want to do it at that time. He asked me to interview with her.
Correct. Next question.
Okay, so you were never offered money in exchange for...
Never. Money was going to Sydney and Justin. That was all I was told, that they would donate a nice substantial amount to Sydney and Justin.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, then money from the sale of the book was going to go to the defendant's children?
Right. Correct.
None was to go to you
Not a dime.
or any other person?
No one in my family, no one. I mean, there was no mention for money for me at all.
Have you ever accepted any money in exchange for your testimony or in exchange for your recounting the information
Never.
you've given us today?
Never.
Never? You've never accepted any?
None.
Have you given any television interviews?
None.
Spoken to the tabloids at all?
No, I have not.
Now, at some point, you did tell Detective Van Adder and Detective Lang and myself about this conversation. Is that correct?
Yeah, just recently.
And that was January 21, wasn't it? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did anyone force you to disclose this information to Sheila Weller
No, not at all.
or to us?
No.
You knew the book would be published at...
I tried not to say this because it's been happening for days now. He needs to lay off that microphone with his papers and stuff. It's driving me batty.
At some point, is that correct?
Yeah, I did.
And were you told that the conversation you had with the defendant would be included in the book?
Yes, I was.
Were you concerned at all that others might read that scenario and try to identify the person who is described as Leo in the book?
Yes, I was.
Were you concerned that someone else might read the scenario in the book and realize who Leo really was?
Yes.
Who?
You guys.
Were you concerned at all that the defendant might read the book?
I would think he would be told about it. If he did not read it.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Are you saying he doesn't read without saying he doesn't
Consider
read
yourself a
books?
friend to this defendant?
You can answer the question.
I do. I don't know how he feels.
Thank
She
you, sir.
is
No further
beautiful.
questions,
I
Your
saw a
Honor.
picture.
Mr. Douglas?
Mr. Shipp. What did you review in preparation for your testimony today, sir?
The only thing I ever looked over was the domestic violence profiles.
Now, it is true, is it not, that you have given a few statements about information that you have concerning this case. Isn't that correct?
Yes, I have.
You were interviewed in the district attorney's office in July. True?
That's when it was. Okay.
And that would have been July 28th, 1994. Sounds about right?
I guess. I don't know what the date was.
You do remember giving that interview in July.
Yes, I do.
Was that interview before or after your first interview with Miss Willer?
That interview, I think it may have been afterwards.
You think that the first interview with the police department was after the interview with the author?
Are you saying with the
Correct.
police department or with Marsha Clark and
Well,
which one?
police officers were present in Marsha Clark's office, were they not?
Yes, they were.
Officer Van Adder was present. True?
True, but I talked to Phil before I even talked to Marsha and Bill Hodgman.
You talked to Phil before talking to Marsha. Marsha is Marsha Clark,
Yes, Marsha Clark.
and Phil is who?
Phil Van Adder, detective.
You and Phil go back a while, don't you?
Yeah, we've known each other over the years.
And how about you and Marsha?
First time I ever met her.
And Bill was also present at that interview.
Yes, correct.
Remember Bill?
Yeah, I remember Bill.
Bill Hodgman. Now, you spoke with Phil and Marsha and Bill for about 90 minutes, didn't you?
Whatever you say.
Sound about right?
Okay.
And they asked you everything that you knew about your relationship with Mr. Simpson, did they not?
That's correct.
And in fact, there was somebody taking down transcription, everything that was said, wasn't there?
That's correct.
Were you placed under oath during that interview
No, I
with
was
Phil and Bill and Marsha?
No, I was not.
Now, have you ever had occasion to read the statement of that interview, which is 60 pages long?
Yes, I did. I read portions of it.
You read that when I gave it to you, didn't you?
Sometime afterwards. I didn't read it immediately.
Right, because sometimes after meeting with Phil and Bill and Marsha, you met with Mr. Douglas, didn't
That's
you?
correct.
Remember that?
Oh, yes, I
Same
did.
thing. The
And
exact
you and
same
I
thing.
met in your attorney's office,
That's
didn't
correct.
you? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And that would have been about September the 9th of 1994, correct?
If that's what you say. I don't know the dates.
And during withdrawn, we met in your attorney's office for about 2 hours, didn't we?
No, we did not.
How long did it last?
45 minutes.
And during any time withdrawn, you knew on that occasion that I was representing Mr. Simpson, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did.
I gave you my business card, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
In fact, after that interview, you called me back later, didn't you?
Did I call you or did you call me?
I called your home after you had called and left the number. Recall that?
If you say so. Okay, I can't remember.
During any part of the 45 minutes that you and I spoke, did you ever mention anything about this conversation with Mr. Simpson?
No, sir.
Didn't I ask you during that conversation to tell me the worst things that you knew about O.J. Simpson?
Yes, you did.
And wouldn't you agree that this statement about this supposed dream is a pretty bad thing about Mr. Simpson?
Yes, it is.
So did you lie when you didn't tell me about that dream?
I sure did.
You did. You've lied a few times, haven't you, sir?
Never in court. Never.
But you've lied a few times concerning what you know about Mr. Simpson. True?
Yeah, I'd say.
You lied to Marcia, didn't you?
Well, if holding back information, they never asked me about that. If holding back information is lying, I don't think it is lying. I just didn't tell them everything.
Well, you just didn't tell the police and the district attorney about an important conversation that you claim occurred. True?
That's correct.
Now, the first time, withdrawn, sometime before talking with me, you had a conversation with an investigator working on my behalf, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Joe Brown, recall that?
Oh, okay, I was thinking of Hostetler. I'm sorry. Mr. Joe Brown. Okay, I did. You're right.
And you never told Joe Brown about this supposed conversation with you and Mr. Simpson, did you?
No, I did not.
So let me get this straight. You met for 90 minutes with Phil and Marcia and Bill and never mentioned this conversation, correct?
I never did.
You met for 25 minutes with Joe Brown and never discussed this conversation, correct?
Did not.
You met with me in your attorney's office for 45 minutes and never talked about this conversation, correct?
Correct.
And you are Mr. Simpson's friend as far as you think, correct?
Yes.
Now, you've said that the reason why you didn't tell Phil about the conversation was because of what?
I said I didn't tell Phil because at the time I really did not want to be really involved in all this. And I didn't want to be going down as being the person to nail O.J.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, you're not, so don't worry about that. But let me ask you this.
Sustained. Counsel, you know better.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Curious to disregard counsel's remarks.
When you talked to Miss Weller about this supposed conversation, did you want to remain anonymous then?
Yes, I did.
Did Miss Weller inform you that she was writing a book?
Yes, you did.
And did she suggest to you that your conversation would be in the book?
Yes, you did.
And did you interpret by the fact that your conversation would be in the book that you would no longer be anonymous?
Well, I felt the only ones that would know about that conversation would be me and O.J.
I see. Wouldn't anyone else who was present at Mr. Simpson's home when you went upstairs, as you say, also know who you were in relation to your identity?
Possibly.
So I understand your version. There was a time when Mr. Simpson went to bed, correct?
Correct.
And this was a man that had just lost the mother of his children, correct?
Correct.
And he was grieving that evening, wasn't he?
Define grieve.
He was in grief, wasn't he?
This witness isn't competent to define who believes and who isn't.
I think it's a common human condition that he can testify to. Overruled.
You may answer.
At the time when I talked to O.J., as far as when you say grieving, crying and stuff like that,
Wasn't he feeling bad about his wife's death, Mr. Shipp?
Overruled. You can ask to describe demeanor.
Can Mr. Darden be the one to object, Your Honor?
So much objectionable.
A vape.
Counsel, you don't need to say that. Jury should disregard that comment by counsel as well.
Now, Mr. Simpson wasn't in a good mood.
no, he was not.
Okay. He was surrounded by his family, correct?
Yes, he was.
He was surrounded by his close friends, correct?
Correct.
Family were concerned about his emotional state, were they not?
Sustained.
Yes, they were.
Motion is granted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Is there any real dispute about that? Family and friends are there. All right.
Yes, they were.
All right.
When Mr. Simpson retired for the evening, did you have occasion to see his family wish him a good evening?
When I was leaving?
No. You said that Mr. Simpson was retiring for the evening, correct?
Correct.
And he asked you to walk upstairs with him, correct? Do you remember family wishing him good night, sleep well, pleasant dreams, or something of that nature?
Not at that time, no.
Did you remember that he snuck upstairs without anyone else in the room noticing?
He snuck upstairs?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Okay. So it wasn't a secret when he went to sleep that evening, true?
No, everyone knew he went to bed.
Okay.
'Cause I was asked by Shirley to unplug the phone.
So everyone knew he was going to bed and that you were going upstairs with him.
Yes.
So it wasn't a secret that you were going upstairs with Mr. Simpson when he was going to bed.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. So that if there would be revealed in some subsequent book a conversation that occurred on June 13th when Mr. Simpson was going to bed, you knew that the people in that room could identify you as being the source of that conversation. Correct?
Correct.
So you didn't really have a concern about being anonymous, did you, sir?
Well, like I said, I felt that I felt OJ would know, and at the time, when I told Sheila about this, there were several people, of course, there at the house, and I was thinking, hey, no one would really maybe put two and two together.
I see. Now, you were a police officer for how many years?
15 years.
And during the course of your 15 years as a police officer, you investigated crimes, I would assume.
I did.
And would there be occasions that you would read descriptions about events in either newspapers or books that would assist your investigation of a pending crime?
Yes, I'd say you're correct.
So it was not unsuspecting of you that if some police officer were to later read about a conversation in a book concerning a conversation that may have occurred with O.J. Simpson, that someone later would investigate the source of that conversation. True?
True.
So you knew, Mr. Shipp, that by having this conversation with Miss Weller, that you would not be able to assure your anonymity, correct?
Mr. Douglas, I'd say you're probably correct.
Prior to the book being released, did you have occasion to review a draft of the manuscript concerning your conversations with Miss Weller?
Yeah, I did.
How many times?
Well, once. I looked it over once.
When in this series of 6 or 7 occasions that you and she met, did you review a draft?
I didn't review it at all at the time when she took the notes.
No, I'm asking when, during the course of these 6 or 7 times that you met with her, did you review the draft?
I thought I just answered that.
Did you ever review the draft text of what she said that you said to her?
Not during the 6 or 7 times when I met with her.
When did you review that draft, sir?
Probably maybe 2 weeks before it came out.
And did you have occasion to offer any corrections?
Yes, I did.
And did you offer corrections?
Nothing. Yes, I did.
Were the corrections ultimately made?
Yes, they were.
You've had occasion since the publication of that book to read the version applying to you.
Yes, I have.
Is it accurate?
Yeah, just about everything's accurate, yeah. I'd say it is.
I'd like to show the witness, Your Honor. I'm giving a copy to him right now, Your Honor. Copies of a document that I'm going to have marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1000. And I'm writing...
What? What did he just say? Plaintiff's Exhibit 1000. CJ, just think if you had 1,000 videos, you've read 1,000 books to people worldwide. 1,000 exhibits. Oh my gosh.
D1000 in the upper right-hand corner.
And what page are you starting
I'm
on?
beginning at page 8, Your Honor, and it goes until page 12. First of all, Mr. Shipp, looking at the document that has now been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1000, does that appear to be the relevant pages of the book Raging Heart by Miss Weller?
It appears to be. Yes, it does.
And there appears to be some reference to the conversation that you had with Mr. Simpson, supposedly, beginning on page 9, correct?
Yes.
Was it in any way withdrawn? Let's talk about the conversations that you had with Miss Weller. You say you spoke to her the first time before talking with Marcia and Bill and Phil, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And how much time did you spend with Miss Weller the first time that you spoke with her?
Maybe 2 hours
Did you talk in person or on the phone?
in person
How'd you get your number, if you know?
from Ralph.
Did you have occasion to speak with Rolf about your supposed conversation with Mr. Simpson before you met with Miss Weller?
Did I tell him?
Correct.
No, I did not.
When you met with Miss Weller, where'd you meet?
At Yarmouth.
You and she had dinner?
Hors d'oeuvres.
Anyone else present?
Waitresses.
At the table with the two of you, I'm asking.
No, no one else.
And at the conclusion of the first meeting, did the two of you agree to meet again?
Yes, we did.
After you met with her the first time, did you like her?
Yes, I liked her.
Did you feel some sort of kinship with her?
Kinship?
Correct.
I thought she was a nice person, yeah.
Did you feel that you could trust her?
Yes, I did.
Did you feel that you could trust her more than you felt that you could trust the police department?
It's not a thing of trusting the police department. I felt I could trust her as far as not printing my name in a book.
But you were going to trust her with some information that you didn't tell the police.
That's correct.
Were you not?
That's right.
You were going to trust her with some information that you hadn't told the district attorney, correct?
That's correct.
When did you develop that quality of trust in her that you were comfortable sharing something with her that you had not shared with the police?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe the third time I met with her.
The third time you felt that comfort. And where had you met with her the second time?
Most of the time we met, it was at Yarmouth.
Each of the times?
Yeah.
How much time passed between the first time and the second time?
Oh, maybe a couple of days.
A couple of days. When you met the first time, who picked up the tab?
First time, I did.
And the second time?
I think I did.
And the third time?
I think she did.
And the fourth time?
But I think she may have.
And the fifth time?
We weren't always eating.
Understand.
We never had dinner. We were just basically just having hors d'oeuvres. And
Did you and Miss Weller ever sign any documents concerning your interview with her?
yeah, we signed a document saying that she would not reveal my name
Where's your copy of that document?
in my house.
Could you bring it with you tomorrow
Sure
when you
could.
come to court?
Yes.
Thank you. And how many pages does that document consist of?
One.
One page? And what does that document say as best as you can recall?
I can't remember.
Tell me all that you can remember that it says.
Something I Sheila Weller, promised not to reveal your name. something like that.
Was that document signed by Ms. Weller and by yourself?
Yes, it was.
And it was dated?
I think so.
Okay. And during which of the 6 or 7 occasions that you and she met did you sign that document that we've just discussed?
I think it might have been the first. Once I agreed to start talking to her, I think she wrote it up.
In your mind, was the most important thing for your comfort that you be anonymous?
Yes.
If you had not had a promise of anonymity, in your mind, were you prepared to share intimate secrets about Mr. Simpson with a total stranger?
Mr. Douglas, sometimes when people are going through stuff, sometimes they say things that they really want everybody to know.
That's not my question, sir. My question is, in your mind, were you prepared to share intimate secrets about your friend to a total stranger without the promise of anonymity?
Oh, no, no.
So the promise of anonymity was the reason or the motivation for you to share intimate secrets with your friend to a total stranger.
Correct.
Have you in the past shared intimate secrets about a friend to somebody writing a book?
Never.
Never before.
Never.
Have you in the past lied to police officers about a murder investigation?
Never.
Never before. You say that the conversation with Mr. Simpson was eating you up. Is that your statement?
That's correct.
And did you hope to exorcise this pain from your body by talking to Sheila Weller?
Yes, I did.
You didn't think that you could exorcise this pain from your body by talking to the police department?
Well, at the time, truthfully, no, I did not. I did not want to put them in a certain situation, knowing their profession, how professional these guys are.
You didn't want to put the police in the position of knowing information that you thought was important concerning the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Well, I know if I would have told Phil, okay, hey, Phil, confidence, I want to share something with you. There's no way in the world Phil would have said, yeah, Ron, I'm going to bury this.
But you did know that when the book came out, Phil would be able to figure it out. True?
Like I said, I figured somewhere along the line, yeah, they'd know it was me.
So sooner or later, they'd have to find out.
Sure.
Did you think that you could rid yourself of this pain by talking with the people who were prosecuting Mr. Simpson?
I have.
After the book came out?
Maybe a day or two before.
Since you realized that it would probably occur that your identity would be disclosed during the police department's investigation of the allegations in the book, why didn't you talk to the police after talking with Miss Weller, immediately after talking to Miss Weller?
Because like I said, Mr. Douglas, at the time, I just did not want it to be down on record on what I thought, my personal feelings, and what I felt about Mr. Simpson.
Because you didn't want to be a witness in this case?
You're absolutely right.
Isn't it true, sir, that you were hopeful that you would be able to garner some publicity by making up false allegations about Mr. Simpson?
No, it's not true at all.
Didn't you think, sir, that by concocting this story about Mr. Simpson, it might enhance your own personal profile?
Mr. Douglas, I put all my faith in God and my conscience. Since Nicole's been dead, I've felt nothing but guilt, my own personal guilt, that I didn't do as much as I probably should have.
But let me ask you this. Didn't you think that by being a witness in this case, it would enhance your own personal profile?
No, sir.
Aren't you an actor?
Sir, I have done some acting. Yes, I have.
Let's talk about that. How much acting have you done, Mr. Shipp?
I've done almost a bunch of bit parts here and there.
Have you gone to school for acting?
Yes, somewhat. Let's see where it goes.
Have you gone to school for acting?
Just years ago.
When did you go to school?
I just took took a commercial class.
How long did the school last?
6 weeks.
Did the school teach you how to play certain roles?
The commercial class?
Yes.
No.
Well, you haven't just acted in schools or in commercials, have you?
No, I've done others.
Yeah, you've aspired to generate an acting career.
I've acted almost everything I've done. I've played a cop, which is not too hard to do.
But it is a role, is it not?
Yeah, it's a role.
And by playing a role, you're trying to act as if you're something other than the true self.
Like I said, I played a cop. That's not hard to do.
Okay.
So I played my true self a lot of times.
Are you acting now?
Every now and then, I may do a little something here and there.
Isn't it true, sir, that by being the witness who has a conversation with Mr. Simpson, that it is going to possibly enhance your profile around the world?
Overruled.
You may answer the question.
Mr. Douglas, there is no way, shape, or form that I would sit here and go through all this, put my family through this for an acting career. I could care less if I
Not
do
the
any
question.
acting.
The question is,
You answer the question.
isn't it true?
Hold on. I think he's finished his answer. Have you finished your answer?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Douglas.
You do realize, Mr. Shipp, that by testifying as you have, you are going to enhance the name of Ron Shipp around the world.
Just like you're enhancing Carl Douglas
I've never heard of him.
by being Mr. Attorney
True.
here.
You realize that too, right?
Yes, I do.
So now you're a star as well.
Well, I mean, that's what everybody's, that's what they say. People are going to see you. But that's not why I'm doing this, Mr. Douglas. I'm doing this for my conscience and my peace of mind. I would not have the blood of Nicole on Ron Shipp. I can sleep at night, unlike a lot of others.
Thank you, Mr. Shipp. Now, how many months passed between your conversations with Miss Weller about this supposed dream and your conversation with any law enforcement authority about the dream?
I don't know, when did I tell her? August, I guess. From August till I told Mr. Darden.
And how did it occur that you told Mr. Darden about this supposed dream?
Mainly, thought that it probably would come up here in court, and I did not want to sit here and lie. Like I said, I've never lied on the stand ever in my life, and I'm not starting now.
So you called Mr. Darden up?
Yeah, I did. I think I did call Mr. Darden up. Yeah.
And did you tell him in that conversation that there was something that you had lied about earlier?
Are you referring, just the fact I didn't reveal the information to Ms. Clark, that I lied? Is that lying?
Correct.
Okay, well, yeah, I called him up and said I lied.
And what did he say when you called him and said, I had lied earlier?
I didn't use those words, but anyhow, he asked me to come in, and he asked me the same questions you asked me, why did I not reveal?
And who was present during the subsequent conversation that you had with Mr. Darden about your earlier lie?
I think Phil Van Adder.
Anyone else?
I think it was just Phil.
And you met in Mr. Darden's office?
Yes, I did.
And how long did that subsequent conversation take?
don't know, maybe total, yeah, total 45 minutes. I think just sitting there and having them recorded and stuff like that.
And did you disclose anything else during that conversation that you hadn't said earlier?
Excuse me, other than the Leo conversation?
Other than the conversation about this alleged dream?
May I interrupt and confer with counsel for a moment?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Fight, fight, fight. Come on, fight, fight, fight.
You first called the Simpson home on June 13th, sometime that morning. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And that was sometime about 10 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, my mom paged me at around about 10:30.
And upon hearing the news, you tried to reach someone at the Simpson home, correct?
Yes, I did.
And when you picked up the phone and dialed the Simpson home, did someone answer?
Yes, they did.
Who was that?
Mark Furman.
Had you known Mark Furman before June 13th?
Yes, I had.
Sorry, guys. I went past my time again, but only by 2 minutes. Whew. The video switched over too, and I'm supposed to stop it right there, but I didn't. I went 50 seconds into tomorrow's video. Oh, man. Thank you so much for coming out today. I think if I can keep it to an hour, this is a bad idea, but I'm going to do it. I think if I can keep it to an hour, I can do a video tomorrow and the next day. It's not like I sleep. It's not like I get off because I have to work a double. It's not. I've never been able to just get off a live and then go right to sleep. I know. I don't either. I'm sorry, Courtroom Cat, but I'm going to play more. How long is this video? This video is 33 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm going to stop when this video is over. I'm going to keep going for 33 more minutes, and then I'm going to stop when this video is over. And I am going to do this tomorrow and the next day. It's good. I want to. I can't just keep stopping like this. It's like married sex. You know, you're almost there, and then gotta go.
When Mark Furman picked up the phone, tell me everything that you can recall about that conversation. First of all, what's the first thing that you asked Mark Furman?
Mark.
He can tell us what he said, but that's about it.
Very well. What did you ask Mark Furman?
I said, Mark, did O.J. kill Nicole?
Did you ask Mark Furman about any of the evidence?
No, not at all.
Did you ask Mark Furman whether or not there was a suspect in mind?
Yes. He told me he wouldn't answer me. And he told me, Ron, you know I can't answer you. And I tried to persuade him, tell him, hey, it's me you're talking to.
How long did you and Mark Furman talk on the phone on that day?
No more than 1 minute.
1 minute.
At the most.
Without saying what he said, did Mark Furman explain why he was there at 10 o'clock answering the phone?
So I did ask him if Nicole, I asked him if she was really dead.
Did Mark explain to you why he was there answering the phone at 10 o'clock a.m.?
Yeah, he said he was investigating. That's when he said, yes, she is dead, and he's there investigating the homicide of her and Ron.
He was at Mr. Simpson's home at 10 o'clock investigating the homicide of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman.
Right.
When you returned later that evening, was Mr. Simpson there when you got there?
Yes, he was.
And he was there with his two sisters, correct?
Yes.
and he was there with his two adult children?
If I'm not mistaken, if Arnell was there, I think she might have been in guest house. I'm not sure. I was there for a whole week, Monday through Friday. So some of the days have run into each other.
Do you recall that his mother was there?
Yes, I think she was there. Yes, she was there.
That was a day that was somewhat unusual, was it not?
Very much, yes, it was.
There were media outside the home, were there not?
Yes, there was.
There were helicopters circling overhead. True?
True.
People were inside watching different television programs, correct?
No, everybody was watching the news for the most part.
Different news programs.
Yes.
There came a time, as you've said, that Mr. Simpson retired upstairs to the bedroom.
Yes, there was.
And he asked you to join him, according to your version.
Yes, he did.
And did you and he walk up the stairs alone? Or together?
Together.
And did you and he then walk into the bedroom together?
Yes, we did.
And it was during this time, while you and he were in the bedroom together, that this conversation supposedly took place.
Yes, it is.
Now, is it your version that Mr. Simpson told you that the police said they had found a glove?
Yes, that's what he told me.
Okay. And did he tell you that they had found a glove with blood on it?
So, yeah, he said they found a bloody glove. And I did leave out one statement because he did, when Mr. Darden was questioning me, he did ask me, what does this mean? What does all this mean?
Now, did he tell you when he had been told that the police had found a bloody glove?
I can't remember.
You knew by the time of your conversation that the police had had an interview with Mr. Simpson.
Yes, okay, he did, yeah. Because he had come from downtown, right?
And
That's
you
correct.
knew that Mr. Simpson had voluntarily gone down and spoken with the police, given a statement.
That's correct.
And you knew that Mr. Simpson had voluntarily returned from Chicago to Los Angeles upon learning of the deaths.
That's correct.
Now, is it your version that Mr. Simpson told you that they also found a cap?
Is it my version?
Did Mr. Simpson tell you that the police had told Simpson that they'd also found a cap?
Yeah, there was two items. I'm pretty sure it was a cap and a glove.
Did Simpson tell you that the police had told Simpson that the police had found blood in the car?
I think he did. I'm not sure. I think he did.
Well, if that statement was written in Exhibit 1000, that Simpson told Leo that the police had found blood in the car, would that statement have come from you, since you're Leo?
That's correct.
Did Simpson tell you that the police had told Simpson that blood was found in the house, in his house?
Yes, he did.
Now, it's your position that Simpson asked you about DNA evidence?
Yes, he did.
Did Simpson ask you about regular blood serological evidence as well?
No, he did not.
Isn't it true, sir, that Simpson never asked you anything about or mentioned to you anything about a cap being found?
Did he never mention it to me?
Correct.
No, it's not true. He
Isn't it
didn't.
true, sir, that Simpson never said anything to you about there being blood found in the car?
No, it's not true.
Isn't it true, sir, that Mr. Simpson said nothing to you about blood being found in the house?
No, it's not true.
Isn't it true, sir, that you mentioned to Mr. Simpson that the police had found a glove on his property?
I had no idea what they found in that house. Nothing.
Didn't you take Mr. Simpson out to behind the garage to show him the area where the glove was supposedly found?
This is sad, OJ, but no, this is really sad.
Your Honor, I move to strike that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are to disregard Mr. Shipp's direct comment to the defendant. Mr. Shipp, please,
I'm
you're
sorry,
instructed not to do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please disregard that. All right, they all nod in agreement.
No, I did not.
Isn't it true, sir, that when you left the Simpson home, you left and walked Kathy Randa out to her car?
Like I said, I was there a whole week. I don't know if it was that night or I've walked a lot of people to their cars.
Well, think hard. June 13th.
No, I walked myself to the car.
You didn't walk Kathy Randa to Kathy Randa's car
On June 13th? No, because I was so shaken up. I remember I walked by myself and I sat in the car and I was by myself. I remember that because I was very tripped out over all this.
Isn't it true, sir, that you and Kathy Randa walked out together from the first floor, right out the house together, and after you walked her to her car, you then got into your car and left?
Not that night. No.
Isn't it true, Mr. Shipp, that because O.J. withdrawn, you are aware that O.J. Simpson was very tired that evening, are you not?
That's true.
And you are aware that O.J. Simpson was very tired because he hadn't gotten much sleep the night before. True?
True.
Because he had taken a red eye from Los Angeles to Chicago. True?
True.
And then had taken a red eye or taken the first flight, 6 o'clock in the morning, from Chicago back to Los Angeles. Correct?
True.
And then because he was on the phone so much, he did not sleep very much on the return flight from Chicago. Correct?
Correct.
And as soon as he got back from Chicago, he was then handcuffed by police officers at his home, correct?
From what I saw on the TV, yes.
And then as soon as he got back from Chicago, he was taken down to Parker Center, correct?
Correct.
And after talking with Parker Center, he was then brought back to his house, correct?
Correct.
And then when he returned to his house, his friends, his family were there, correct?
Correct.
And since he hadn't slept for the past 24 hours or so, he went to bed early on June 13th.
No objection.
Didn't he?
Facts not known, it's called for speculation and hearsay.
Overruled.
You may answer the question.
No, he did not.
Isn't it true, sir, that Mr. Simpson didn't go to bed around 11 o'clock, but in fact he went to bed closer to 8 or 8:15 on June 13th, since he hadn't slept the prior night? Isn't that true?
I'm sorry. I lost the train of thought. Go right ahead again. I'm sorry.
Since Mr. Simpson hadn't slept the prior evening or earlier that day, he went to bed at about 8 or 8:15 on June 13th, didn't he?
No, I did not.
And isn't it true, sir, that his sister Shirley and his brother-in-law Benny Baker escorted Mr. Simpson up to his room and helped him undress on June 13th? Isn't that correct?
Is that what they're going to testify to, sir?
In the courtroom.
No, Your Honor, they're outside.
That's not correct. That is not correct.
My statement is not correct.
That is not correct.
And is
I believe him. I think he's telling the truth. But I'm often wrong about life.
All right, thank you, counsel. Mr. Douglas, you may continue.
Thank you. Isn't it true, Mr. Shipp, that from 8:15, the time that Mr. Simpson went to bed, throughout that entire evening, some member of his family sat with him in his room because he was so grief-stricken?
That's not true. Shirley asked me to go stay with him. She didn't want OJ to be alone. She said, you stay up there with him, Ron.
Now, Mr. Shipp, let me change the subject. and talk about your friendship with Mr. Simpson. Were you and he close friends?
I'd say we were pretty good friends. We never went out to dinner like on a regular basis and stuff like that. But
Did you ever go out to dinner with him and you ever?
well, when he was trying to have me help him get back with Nicole, yeah, he was real.
You and he went out to dinner?
He took me out a couple of times.
Where'd you go?
One of the places was right next to his office. I'm not sure if it's the pizza place over there.
You and he went alone to dinner?
Oh, yeah.
What month was that in?
Whenever 1989, whenever, the first week after he and Nicole had the altercation.
When else did you and he ever go to dinner together? In the 26 years that you and he have been supposed friends.
You know, Mr. Douglas, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Okay, what he did, he took me out to, maybe it was a late brunch type. It wasn't a dinner, a late brunch type of a thing.
You have never had a dinner in the presence of O.J. Simpson alone, have you?
Yes, I have.
O.J. Simpson is a football fan, isn't he?
Pardon me?
O.J. Simpson is a football fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves football. Yes, he does.
He goes to games a lot,
Yes, he
doesn't
does.
he? You and O.J. Simpson have never attended a football game together
Never.
in the 26 years that he's been your supposed friend, have you?
Not one.
You and your wife have never gone on a double date with Nicole and O.J. Simpson in the entire time that you've known them, have you?
You're absolutely correct.
You and your wife and he and his ex-wife never went to a movie or a play or a concert together, the four of you, have you?
My wife and I were invited shortly after he beat up Nicole.
Move to
Never.
strike that, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
Overruled.
Your wife and you were invited, but you never went, did you?
Never went.
All the times that you claim that you were over his house playing tennis, you have never in your entire life played tennis on the same court with O.J. Simpson, have you?
Never.
You're not really this man's friend, are you, sir?
Well, okay, all right. If you want me to really explain it, I guess you can say I was like everybody else, one of his servants. I did police stuff for him all the time. I ran license plates. That's what I was. Okay, I mean, like I said, I love the guy.
You weren't the kind of friend that he would share some private secret with, were you, sir?
Nothing except for the 1989 beating where he needed me.
You know that Mr. Simpson is an avid golfer, true?
Very true.
You ever been golfing with him?
Never.
You ever asked to go with him?
Never. I'm not that good.
Ever been to a Raider game with him?
Never.
A Trojan game with him? Very well, Your Honor.
Trojan
Move on.
game?
Very well, move on.
When he got a hold of me.
Now, you have had occasion to meet with members of the Brown family since the death of Nicole Brown Simpson, haven't you?
Since the death,
Yeah.
on one occasion,
When was that?
a memorial service for Nicole.
Have you been down to Dana Point to speak with any of the family since then?
No, I have not.
Have you spoken with them on the phone other than on the day of the funeral?
Oh, yes, I have.
How many times have you spoken with anyone from the Brown family on the phone since the funeral until today?
Maybe 6.
When was the last time?
Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Who'd you speak with?
Spoke to both Lou and Judy.
When was the first time?
After the deaths.
Who'd you
Yep.
speak with?
No, I'm trying to clarify.
After the deaths.
I remember I went probably, I didn't want to bother them, like, because they were being bothered, so I probably went maybe around 2.5, 3 months before I even called. I mean, I called Rolf all the time, and I'd check on them through Rolf, and I'd ask them how they were doing.
You've spoken with Denise Brown since her sister's death, have you not?
Once at the memorial.
Have you spoken with Dominique Brown since the death of her sister?
I talked to her once, which was also that 3-week period, 3 weeks ago when she answered the phone.
Did you talk to Tanya Brown at all since the death of her
Memorial.
sister? I'm sorry?
At the memorial.
You mentioned there were 6 times or so that you've spoken to someone in the Brown family on the telephone. One time was with Louis and Judith Brown.
I talked to Lou a few times a few times I called and I'd ask to speak to Judy, or she'd answer the phone and put Lou on the phone.
Did you ever talk to anyone in the Brown family about this supposed conversation with you and Mr. Simpson about dreams?
No, I did not.
Who else have you told before talking to Mr. Darden and Mr. Van Adder? Who else did you talk to about these dreams other than your wife and other than Sheila Weller?
My attorney, Bob McNeil.
Okay.
Robert McNeil, correct.
Washington Boulevard office.
Yeah,
They've moved, Your Honor.
he's downtown, but he was on Washington. You're correct.
You began the police force when, Mr. Shipp?
November 1974.
And you were a member of the police force until when, Mr. Shipp?
October 1989.
All right, let me see counsel over here at the sidebar with the reporter, please.
I was missing the sidebars. I'm glad they did that.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about the delay. Mr. Douglas, do you wish to conclude for the afternoon?
I would, Your Honor, if I may. When's the last time before June 13th, 1994, Mr. Shipp, that you had occasion to visit the Rockingham location?
Probably about a week before that.
And that was when you visited there with some blonde female, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was.
Yes. I take it there's an objection?
Yeah.
Relevancy?
Now, John, I'm going to keep going. 11 more minutes. I'm going to keep going.
All right, Mr. Douglas, you may wind it up for the afternoon, please.
It is true, is it not, that about a week before the death of Nicole Brown Simpson, you visited Mr. Simpson's house unannounced at about 10 o'clock p.m. with a blonde female. True?
No, that was approximately,
Your Honor, I objected to this question. I thought the court sustained it.
No, overruled,
You may answer.
but not very broad here.
Very well.
no, the night that the blonde female was over, that was 3 weeks before. It was a good friend of my wife, and we're good friends with her husband. Her name is Lisa Madigan. That was 3 weeks prior.
Is she about 6'1",
No,
resembling Nicole Simpson?
No, she's, I'm sorry. She's about, this is about 5'9", almost 5'10".
Was this the woman who you wanted to share the jacuzzi with?
The fact that he was over there 3 or 4 weeks ago, that's about it that's relevant, counsel.
Very well. When you were there on this occasion, did you ask Mr. Simpson to go and bring you some wine?
That's correct.
You drink a lot, don't you?
I used to.
You've had a drinking problem, haven't you?
In the past, I have.
We can stop now, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to...
I'm just going to say that if he was there a couple weeks before with a woman, so if I was going to take a date out, right, to somebody's house and then use their hot tub and then ask them to get me wine, they would have to be a friend. I wouldn't just do this with someone who is not a very good friend of mine. So that last part just proved that they were very good friends before.
Take our recess for the afternoon. Mr. Shipp, I'm going to direct you to come back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Don't discuss your testimony with anybody else except for the lawyers in the case. All right? Let's have it quiet in the courtroom, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please remember my admonition to you. Mr. Shipp, you can step down. Go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember my admonition to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, have any contact with anybody from the outside, allow anybody to contact you, and we will see you back here hopefully bright and early 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, have a pleasant evening. All right, let's clear the courtroom for the jury, please.
For conflict. I'm sure he would not do it, but I asked his name be taken off. And I will further call his office and let him know that his name is off the list.
All right. And Mr. Simpson, it's my understanding that Mr. Robert McNeil has not represented you. He has not appeared on the record in this case thus far. That's my understanding. Is that correct? All right. And you understand what the problem is? All right. Great. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. One other thing. Ms. Clark, I need to do some planning about our visits out in the field.
Field
Can you tell me when you
trips.
might be planning that?
Field trips.
I anticipated that we would ask for a jury viewing of Bundy just after the first officer on the scene testifies. That will come up. I'm reviewing the witness list. That will come up after the testimony of the witnesses from Mezzaluna. And that, so we'll have, it's not going to come up until after all the testifying. How long is this going to
We talking a couple weeks?
vary? I think so. I think so.
Okay. Then, counsel, would each side has agreed that this is something necessary, the view of the scene, both at Bundy and Rockingham, both during the daylight hours and again at night. And my proposal was that we go there once in the daylight hours at the beginning of the case, and then towards the end of the case go back again during nighttime hours, which may get us right about June.
Certainly hope.
So we may even get the right time and moon and sun and the stars and all of the above. The sheriffs are putting together a travel itinerary, and we of course have to form a press pool to go along with us, otherwise they'll hound us. And the itinerary that they have planned so far is Bundy, drive by Mezzaluna, and then up to Rockingham, roughly. Although they have the secret route. Okay. But if you want, would you give me the itinerary of what you think we need to do, and then, because I'll have to plan how long it's going to take us. We can't all go through these places together. It'll probably have to be, because of the narrowness of some of these places, maybe 3 or 4 at a time, escorted by deputies, et cetera.
Did you say, Ms. Clark, when that would be?
I thought at best 2 weeks, probably longer.
And we do Rockingham and Bundy on the same day. Because we need to, of course, we need to advance regarding Rockingham, so everything's also available. I think that's going to take care of Bundy.
Right, we'll take care of Bundy, but I wasn't anticipating doing them both on the same day, Your Honor.
And rather than take off the trips, I'd like to do Rockingham and Bundy on the same day, at least during daylight hours. Makes sense.
I think it makes sense to do it all at once, because they're all within relatively close proximity.
Then if we go back at night, we can do them both at night. Make 3 or 4 trips out.
Right.
Very important, Your Honor.
Let me just ask one other thing. Are we going to need to see the interior of the Bundy address? Is there any reason that we need to go in there?
I really, at this time, don't think so, Your Honor. But the court has asked me to,
You think so?
Yes, I think so. I think absolutely.
for what's the relevance?
I think there's quite a bit of relevance in this instance where
Actually, if we get to the 90th, no, but that was at Gretna
That was Gretna Green.
Gretna Green. No, but I still think it's very relevant, Your Honor, because of all the things that the LAPD didn't do along with it. So I think it's very relevant. Not only to see the outside, but the inside, where the children were and that sort of thing. It becomes very relevant because we have these witnesses testifying about things that they heard.
Okay. Well, what I'm asking is, why don't you each side put together a list of what it is you want to see, and then, because the sheriffs have to know timing-wise how long it's going to take us to do all of this for planning.
And I would like to be heard on the subject matter of taking the jury inside the Bundy residence.
Yeah. Well, think about it.
Okay. I'm not going to fight about it if we don't have to, but it doesn't seem relevant to me at this time. Yeah.
I mean, if we're there and something comes
I
up.
think it's very relevant, and I'll talk to Mr. Mark.
Okay.
I'll convince him. John, I'd like to inquire of the people. Now that we're finally in trial, and Ms. Clark said something the other day about them concluding that case has been 4 to 6 weeks. I think I heard that from somebody. I'd like to get a realistic estimate because we're kind of in a situation where I'd like to know how long these trials are going to take. And may I have just a second?
All right.
I bet some of those patient charts have some interesting comments in them. Like my tickets at work when I send food back to the kitchen.
Let me suggest this to you and Ms. Clark. Why don't you all, since we have some additional time this afternoon, why don't you sit down and formally chart out in blocks where it is you think you're going to be in the next couple of weeks?
I think we have something we can't represent, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Olson, I thought you were leaving.
Something first beginning of
Estimate, Your Honor, that counsel should be ready to proceed at the beginning of April, giving extra lag time for things that may occur like illnesses, excessive amounts of...
That's 2 beepers I own.
Take it.
Deputy McNair, would you take Mr. Darden's
Take it.
beeper, please?
Oh, geez, you didn't take these other people's beepers and Mr. Bailey's.
No, I
right.
said any other electronic
You're gonna take
devices. I
mine?
took one from Court TV last week. That's 2 I have now.
Take it.
It's a beaver company, Simpson, beaver, a new one, a better model. Cellular beaver,
Taking it.
and digital. How is Ms. Clark going to get in contact with me tonight?
Your Honor, you have just hamstrung the prosecution in a very serious way.
Life in the big city, Ms.
May I
Clark.
be excused for
You are, Mr. Darden. You may thank me for that, Mr. Darden. All right. End of April?
No, beginning
Beginning of
April.
April. All right.
And I'm giving some, this is very approximate. I don't know how long cross is going to be. It's very hard for counsel, for Mr. Cochran and myself, to estimate the DNA length of time for those hearings, that testimony. So this is a very rough estimate, and I can't, please don't hold me to this. I'm doing the best I can, but I really don't know. And cross does vary. I'm unable to predict how long they'll go. So.
When do you anticipate we'll see Mr. Hodgman back? If and when?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, counsel, anything else?
I think that we agreed, try to shoot for April 1st on the beginning of the defense case, Your Honor. Give or take, as you said, the DNA. It's going to be interesting. Your Honor, is it possible, I have a brief hearing tomorrow morning. Is it possible that we could have, it's going to start at 8:30. Is it possible we can start at 9:15 tomorrow? It's down in Department 111. Apparently they held it today, and at 8:30, I'd like to have it 9:15 at least tomorrow.
He's got another case he has to work on. So she's been back there the whole time with Kardashian. I thought she was OJ's daughter, but she just told him what time his hearing is tomorrow. So I don't think that's OJ's daughter anymore.
Possibly.
9. Ms. Clark, do you agree with that request?
She won't be able to win anyway, Your Honor, so it's okay. It works out
I knew
fine.
he'd say that. I knew he was going to say it. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 9:15.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, counsel, thank you.
I can't believe the judge took his beeper. I can't. Oh, what did I do? I'll fix it tomorrow. I can't believe the judge just took his beeper. I'm going to fix it now. That way I'm not confused tomorrow. So we start here tomorrow. Let's see. Let's just see how many more we have to go. Okay? Oh my God. Now we're halfway. Oh wait, it's only 252. There's 493. What the heck is going on? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out because this goes to 252. Listen, if I have to purchase it, if they don't have it all, and I have to purchase it, I will. Do not worry. Do not worry. Let me just look. There's nothing else on this site. This is the only thing they have is the O.J. Simpson trial. So we have all the videos here. We do. We do. We'll be fine. Thank you for coming out, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. I will see you guys very soon. Maybe in Judge Fleischer's court. In Bill's live stream. Bye, guys. It's fine, man. It's absolutely fine. See ya.